My name is Lawrence Presman. I am a professional sports bettor, have been since 1998. I'm also an entrepreneur, a serial investor into private equity deals, and the co-founder of WagerTalk Media, the best sports betting content site on the planet. Today we're going to be doing Behind the Bettor. I will answer a bunch of questions and you'll hear a little bit more about me. The first question is, college football Saturdays or NFL Sundays? Well, as a Canadian, this question is moot. NFL Sundays all the way. I never really had any affinity towards any particular college football team. I do cheer for Clemson because I like their orange. But other than that, I'm a college football bettor, but not a fan. I'm an NFL bettor and an NFL fan. What's the best sporting event you've ever attended? The best sporting event I ever attended was in the mid-1990s. I happened to be in Sydney, Australia. I was lucky enough to go see the Sydney Swans win the Australian Rules Football Championship. It was incredible for many reasons. One, I was new to the sport. Two, I was in a new country. And three, the passion for Aussie Rules football in Australia only rivals that of hockey in Canada. So that would be the best sporting event I ever attended. What is your most memorable sports bet? One that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. It was a San Francisco NFL game, probably 15 years ago, give or take. I took under 32 and a half. It was 30-0 at halftime, and I won my bet. It remained under. Those are one of those, every time you have a bad beat, remind yourself about bets like that. What's the best gambling movie ever? I'll tell you right off the bat, I don't love any gambling movie. I think Rounders is the most realistic as far as the hands that were used in Rounders, as opposed to the insanity in something like Casino Royale. And I like Matt Damon, I like John Malkovich, so I'm going to go with Rounders, and I know that's a common answer, but I can't think of any gambling movie that sits at the top of movies. Other than sports betting, what is your favorite way to gamble? I don't gamble, so there is no other favorite way. I have never gambled on anything in my life. I go to casinos. I never play blackjack. I never play roulette. I never play craps or pai-gow or baccarat. I am a poker player. I do not consider that gambling. I only play tournament poker, and I consider that paying an entrance fee to a sporting event that I could win. I'm also a sports bettor, and I do not consider that gambling either. I consider that akin to trading stock. So other than sports betting, what is your favorite way to gamble? I don't gamble. If you could share a VIP booth at a sports book with any three famous people for a day, who would they be? John Mayer would be my number one choice based on his music trajectory, and now he's the guitar player for my favorite band, Den & Company. My number two choice would probably be somebody like Ronald Reagan. How delicious to sit down with him for a long period of time, from acting to business to being a politician. And lastly, it would probably be, a pope or a devoutly religious imam or rabbi, because, fascinating conversations. So there you go. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of people in sports betting? Look, most of the people are going to sit there and say Billy Walters, Henry from Pinnacle, and I agree. These are incredible sports bettors. But without question, the four people that are most likely to end up on the Mount Rushmore of sports betting is four people that we've never heard of. Because the greatest sports bettors, the greatest gamblers, the greatest stock buyers, the greatest crypto investors, all of these people are behind the scenes. It's the loud ones that you know of, and loud ones are normally not winners. So although there are a bunch of people, Steve Merrill, Marco, Gianni, Kelly Stewart, a bunch of bettors that I have deep, deep respect for, as far as who the greatest bettors on the planet, people we've never heard of. Best advice for sports bettors: take it seriously. That's my number one piece of advice, because 90% of you guys are looking for a quick buck and you don't understand that you're actually in an environment that is a business-related environment, not an entertainment-related environment. Take it seriously, don't chase, don't be greedy, and don't do parlays. There's a whole lot for you, but the number one thing would be take it seriously. This is not a game. What's your all-time favorite sports book in Las Vegas? It's the Westgate by far. I mean, firstly, I have an incredible relationship with the Westgate, but I have been in and out of the Westgate for the last 20 years. I'm taping right now in the Westgate. That's an easy one. Is there a specific NFL season that comes to mind as the best? If so, when was it? I would say 1978. I don't even know who won that season, but I am South African and I moved to Canada. I knew nobody. I got there at the end of August, and the Dallas Cowboys were on every single Sunday. I became a huge fan of Tony Dorsett, Randy White, Ed Tuttle, Drew Pearson, Preston Pearson, Roger Staubach, and the works. So that year they got me through being a lonely 9-year-old kid who had no friends at the time. So that would be the one season that stands out to me. Do you remember a day that was the most profitable in sports betting? If so, when? Easy. I know nothing about horse racing whatsoever. I had an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old daughter at the time. It was raining. It was the Kentucky Derby. I told each of them to pick a horse. I picked one. I didn't even know how to bet it. I put $60 on the 3 horses we chose to come 1, 2, and 3, and they did. I made $18,000 on that $60 bet, and that's with knowing nothing. Do you remember your first sports bet? If so, what was it? My first sports bet was a loser, which is a great thing. I bet that Michael Spinks would beat Mike Tyson. That did not go well. What is the biggest mistake you see sports bettors making today? Greed. I think ultimately, if you really break it down and you pay your minus 110, you bet minus 110 to win 100, you're making 91% return on your money in the time span of a game. And yet that 91% return in a 3-hour period is not good enough for most of you. Instead, you want a 260% return on a 2-team parlay or a 600% return on a 3-team parlay. So the number one mistake, period, is don't be greedy. If you could only bet one sport for the rest of your life, what would it be? It would be hockey. That's not only is it the best sport to watch, but it's also the sport that I find the easiest to beat. What was your first job in the sports betting industry? I am an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. My first job in the sports betting industry was starting my own business, which was called Who2beton, which I sold in 2007, and then inevitably started WagerTalk, which is ultimately the same business. That's it. Those are all the questions. I'm Lawrence Presman. Thanks for watching Behind the Bettor. That was fun. And make sure to watch everybody else's. Kelly, Gianni, Crackman, Teddy, Marco. We all are doing these and they're super awesome. So check them all out. You can find them at WagerTalk TV, which is our YouTube channel.